When you are dieting, but you are underslept, you lose what you want to keep, which is muscle, and you keep what you want to lose, which is fat.
Hey guys, welcome back. I've been wondering, have you ever found yourself in this situation? You're trying to lose that stubborn belly fat, but no matter what you do, it just won't budge. You've tried everything. Thousands of sit-ups, crunches, maintaining a healthy diet, even some unorthodox weight loss methods, and buying those fancy abs stimulation devices. But your six-pack just won't show. Sounds familiar, right? Well, things might change today. In this video, we're going to tackle this issue head-on. We'll discuss the best scientifically proven protocols from experts and explore the most effective ways to lose your belly fat from 3 angles: diet, exercise, and lifestyle. So, if you're looking to get your six-pack ready for the summer, make sure to stick around till the end. All right, without further ado, let's dive right in, shall we?
You have to be eating the foods that you like and look forward to. People have an idea of what their 20 favorite foods are. That's what they should be eating. If you love the foods that you're eating, you're gonna stick to your diet. When I say your 20 favorite foods, I mean your 20 favorite foods that are reasonably healthy choices across the food groups. And there's 6 of them. There's the meat or the high protein group, there's the fat group, there's the fibrous vegetable group, and there's the starch group, and then there's the milk group, and then there's the fruit group. So choose your 3 favorite foods in each of those food groups. And there's your diet, man. Oh, wait, we have 2 more foods left to get those 20 foods. Choose your 2 favorite YOLO foods, your 2 favorite desserts or whatever, right? Wine and freaking cookies or something, brownies and ice cream, whatever. And that's a healthy diet right there that'll hold you down for life and not just a dieting phase. If you're losing fat or if you're getting lean, there's really no concern about visceral fat. Because if you're losing overall fat, then visceral fat is diminishing as well. It's not like that's going to hold steady. Principle number 2, visceral fat is mainly a concern for people who are gaining fat. There's actually a study by Rosquist and colleagues where they compared what types of dietary fat most influence visceral fat. They compared a polyunsaturated fat source with a saturated fat source. It was a hypercaloric experiment, where the subjects were eating more calories, and the saturated fat-rich diet, that resulted in greater visceral fat accumulation than the polyunsaturated fat-rich diet.
So the fat burner fast is probably my favorite for those people who want to lose weight. The research was done that 36 hours without food, followed by 12 hours of eating, and then another 30. They actually did it over a 30-day period, but we've been using it in our community, just dosing it in. That at 36 hours, what happens is that's enough time where the blood sugars come down, where all of a sudden the body, it's so smart. It goes, okay, blood sugar's not coming. We've been in this fasted state. We've triggered autophagy. We've brought inflammation down. We've made you ketones. We're trying to go find food, but this extra weight, it's not serving you. Because remember, you got to go find food. So it drops weight. And it's the most beautiful way to get a person to unstick any kind of weight loss resistance. And so that's what they showed, is that actually a 36-hour fast started to unstick weight loss, and it was started with weight around the belly.
Even though we'd like to think if we do a bunch of crunches and work the area where the fat is stored, it will preferentially target that fat. There is no evidence to support that idea, and it's unlikely that that would make a difference overall. Now, there is research showing that exercise can reduce visceral fat without actually causing weight loss. So it is a good idea to exercise in general, but specific exercises are not going to target preferentially belly fat per se. The real key to losing belly fat is just getting into a caloric deficit consistently and doing it for long enough.
There are some major benefits of resistance training if you're trying to lose belly fat. First of all, if you're lifting during this fat loss phase, there's a very high likelihood that you are going to reduce the amount of muscle loss that occurs during that weight loss. And that can be great for 2 reasons. A lot of people who don't lift weights and just do fat loss they often find that they end up looking more skinny and less shredded than they were hoping at the end. So retaining muscle can be great for maintaining definition. There's also been some really good research in the last couple years indicating that the more muscle or the more lean mass you lose during a diet, the more hunger you tend to experience later on, and the higher likelihood that you're actually going to regain some of the fat that you lost later. The reality is you don't need cardio in order to lose fat or to lose belly fat, but cardio can be a helpful thing. And one of the reasons for that is energy expenditure has a tendency to go down during a fat loss phase. So of course, there will be some reduction normally in resting metabolic rate. Non-exercise activity is basically everything that exists between resting and doing structured exercise. So walking to the mailbox, walking around at your work or your school, anything that fits between those two extremes of exercising on purpose and, just kind of totally resting. It's usually the second biggest contributor to total daily energy expenditure for most people. And so unfortunately, when we diet, a lot of people notice their non-exercise activity thermogenesis goes down pretty significantly. Cardio can be a really helpful thing in keeping your expenditure higher when that non-exercise activity starts to go down over time. So you're just trying to kind of keep things steady by adding some cardio to the mix. For some people, it's even just purely behavioral. We might just say, hey, use the stairs instead of the elevator and park at the back of the parking lot instead of the front. So everything that gets you moving counts.
This new study was very unique in that it was the first ever investigation to assess a lack of sleep and how it affects where body fat is stored. They took 12 healthy males and females who on average slept about 7.5 hours per night. They had these subjects live in a research sleep lab and then placed them into two different sleep conditions. The first condition was a sleep-restricted condition where they were allowed to sleep only 4 hours per night. The other condition was a normal sleep condition where they were allowed to sleep 9 hours per night. And during this entire process, they were allowed to eat as much and whatever food they wanted to eat. So after 2 weeks in each condition, here's what happened. The sleep-restricted subjects, on average, consumed 300 more calories per day, and they gained about a pound of body weight when compared to the subjects when they were in the normal sleep stage. But here's where things get really interesting. The subjects that were sleep restricted, they gained 8% more subcutaneous body fat than the normal sleep condition. They only gained about 4%. The other part of our bellies that stores fat is called the visceral region. The sleep restricted condition caused an increase in 11% of this visceral body fat. In the normal sleep condition, they didn't gain any. So this study suggests that there may be a link to sleep restriction leading to overeating, which causes a gain in body fat that is preferentially stored in the belly region. So my takeaway from this is to make sure that you prioritize sleep. I would suggest that you get about 7 hours per night and that you do not overlook the importance of this.
And the other thing about cortisol, which is quite funny, as a survival mechanism, it will help you to store fat around your abdomen. So, again, in the cave, if you were potentially going to not find food for a month, then if you had extra fat around your abdomen, you could digest that and survive till you could find food. What I would see with people is that they would say, I've put on a bit of weight around the middle, had to loosen the belt a bit. So I've started eating less, I've started exercising more, and I still can't shift it. And again, that's when I would explain this is the impact of cortisol. As long as you're still leaking out extra cortisol, nothing's going to change. You had to get to the root cause. You had to reduce the cortisol.
On average, underslept individuals started to eat in those studies about 300 to 400 extra calories at each sitting by way of insufficient sleep. Then what they discovered is that it's not just that you want to eat more, it's what it is that you have a craving for when you are underslept. What they found is that when you are underslept, you eat more of everything, but you especially eat more of these heavy-hitting, stodgy carbohydrates, bread, pasta, pizza. The next thing that you started to eat, have a preference for, was simple sugary foods, sweets and chocolate. And then finally, you started to crave very salty food, and high sodium food intake will increase your blood pressure. Let's say that you're trying to be really careful and you're trying to diet and you're trying to lose weight. If you're not getting sufficient sleep, then 60% of all of the weight that you lose will come from lean muscle mass and not fat. So in other words, when you are dieting but you are underslept, you lose what you want to keep, which is muscle, and you keep what you want to lose, which is fat.
So, what do you guys think of the suggestions, huh? Personally, I gotta say, they seem like some pretty solid advice, don't they? And it's not just me saying this. These are scientifically proven tips straight from the experts. Okay, now for all you amazing guys who've stuck with me up till this point, let's do a quick recap of everything we've covered in the video. Well, to lose belly fat efficiently, pick a healthy diet from the 6 major food groups: high protein, fats, vegetables, starch, milk, and fruits. You can have 1 or 2 relatively unhealthy foods like ice cream or pizza, and that's a pretty solid dietary plan for you to stick with for a long time. If you are losing overall fat, then visceral fat is diminishing as well. A 36-hour fast will unstick weight loss, and it will start with weight around the belly. Specific exercises like sit-ups and crunches are not going to target the fat around the belly. The key to losing belly fat is to be in a calorie deficit consistently and doing it for long enough. Resistance training could help reduce the amount of muscle loss that occurs during weight loss. Cardio is not needed to lose belly fat. However, it helps to maintain the calorie expenditure, while the non-exercise activities, thermogenesis, goes down when we diet. Sleep is essential for losing belly fat. Lack of sleep will usually result in you eating more calories, making you crave for unhealthy food, and 60% of the weight you lose will most likely come from lean muscle mass rather than fat. No matter how healthy your diet is, how much exercise you do, as long as your cortisol level is high, you will have a very hard time losing belly fat or fat in general. All right, so I guess that's about it for today, folks. Just a quick reminder, shedding all that belly fat isn't something that happens overnight. It's a journey, right? It takes consistency, dedication, and time. But hey, I believe in you guys. I know you can get there eventually. So, until we meet again in the next video, remember to stay fit and keep pushing. I'll catch you later.